that it's now 9:25. So we've got about, what, 8 minutes of writing time for this particular article. And you can see that Dragon Naturally Speaking isn't perfect. It also does depend on whether or not you're working in a completely quiet environment. You can probably hear in the background of the microphone, you can hear traffic going by, you can hear birds, you heard the pump that's going on outside. If I were to actually close the window, I would have a higher recognition level. I can also adjust in Dragon Naturally Speaking. If you go up to the tools and the options, and you go over to, I believe it's the miscellaneous. Yeah, you can go in here to the miscellaneous, and you can actually adjust this to the most accurate. And in this case, it does have about a 99% accuracy rating, although it does take anywhere from 3 to 5 seconds for the words to appear on the screen after you speak them. And if you are talking rapidly rather than in your dictation voice, it does take significantly longer. You'll also notice that during the actual writing of this article, I was actually backtracking and adding things to the tools necessary, because sometimes I remember things in the moment of writing that you actually require, and then I include those over, into the actual box where you're supposed to put where the tools required for the task go. Other things are, like, for example, the Dragon Naturally Speaking was not wanting to recognize cinder blocks. It was recognizing the word cinder as center, and I'm sure you saw that twice it centered the text in the article on me because it was not recognizing, so I had to backtrack. And there's a couple of other words that I had to fix, but if I close the window and I take the time to train the extra words, you can actually again create a fairly accurate Dragon Naturally Speaking protocol. With that being said, we're pretty much done with the article. From here, we're just going to be copying and pasting over what we've written. We're going to do the plague check like we did last time, and I'm actually going to include a reference with this one as a resource, not a reference, because I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, there is a video. Yep, I've used this before. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's correct. That's This Old House. I've used this one before for a different article. This is thisoldhouse.com, which, for those of you who grew up with This Old House, can remember this is a resource that you can use. It's acceptable to Demand Studios as a credible home improvement website, and they actually have an article on doing planter beds out of cinder block, so we can actually use that as a resource. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste over everything. I hope you can see that it took me 8 minutes to write the article, and as you recall from the last time that I did this in the first video, it only takes me 2 to 3 minutes to go through, edit, check for duplicate words, plug everything into the actual Demand Studios platform from Microsoft Word, which is here. You can clearly see the content. You can pause it and read it. This is the pre-edited version, and then you'll be able to check this against the live version whenever it goes live. So with that being said, I hope you can appreciate that while I wrote this in 8 minutes, it's probably going to take me, I'd give myself 4 minutes at max to plug everything in. So if you don't mind, I would like to consider this one a 12-minute article at max, although in reality it's probably more like 10 minutes if I wasn't taking the time to explain all this and show you guys everything in the moment. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and call this one done at 12 minutes, and then I'll come back to you when we're ready to do the next one. I'm turning this back on to show you guys how it took me about 3 minutes here to do the editing and adding of the resources and everything else. We're going to go ahead and validate for review. I'm going to pull up my disclaimer that you guys remember from last time. We're going to go ahead and where is that at? Down here. going to go ahead and pull that up, plug that into the article, and then we're going to call that done. I'll come back to you guys here in a bit. Alright guys, we're coming back, and we're going to go into the second article here, which is how to build a tree swing with metal cables. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that title and I'm going to plug it into Google, and we're going to see what comes up, just to see what kind of resources we find. The other thing you can do, and some people consider this cheating, but I don't, is you can actually check other articles at eHow to determine, or other similar places, whether or not they've got resources that you can use for how to make an outdoor tree swing. Remember, I already know the actual principle of how to make a tree swing, but we need to find a credible resource that we can use. You can probably hear the lady yelling in the background. Here in Mexico, they've got people that come down through the streets in the mornings and through the afternoons selling door to door. This lady in particular is yelling about naranja, which is oranges. She's got orange juice for sale, grapefruit juice, carrot juice. So if you want a fresh juice first thing in the morning, you don't even have to leave your house. You can walk out the door when you hear the lady wandering through the streets and pick up what you need. Same thing, they bring tortillas, the big bottles of water known as garrafones, which are the 3 liter, or I forget how many liters they are. They're the big bottles of water that you can find in the office setting. Tortillas, tamales, what else? Sweets, homemade ice cream. Everything down here is homemade ice cream. They don't have you can go to Walmart or the equivalent down here and buy ice cream, but overall that doesn't lead anywhere. Alright, well, I'm not finding anything real quick. I do have one thing that I can show you guys that I have from back in the day. I would have to find this on the Demand Studios forums. Let's see here. It's going to be in my freelance folder. It is a Demand Studios custom search. Some guy over at Demand Studios, and this is probably, I don't know if he's updated it since then, but this is actually linked on the Demand Studios forums last year sometime. This guy actually created a custom search engine that only browses through the approved sources of information for Demand Studios, so that you don't actually have to worry about filtering through the blacklisted stuff. Ah, bingo, right here. Looks like Popular Mechanics, Extreme Treehouse. We're going to pop that open and go over here and look. This is a do-it-yourself forum, so it doesn't look like I can use that one. Might be able to look at that. That's about a treehouse, which it looks really, that is an extreme treehouse. How cool is that? Ah, with a rope bridge and everything. Okay, see, now I'm getting sidetracked. Look at that picture.